What's up everybody, welcome to another episode of B is for Build. In today's episode, we are going to be focusing on prepping the GTR body for wrap. That's right, we're wrapping the GTR rather than painting it, because with this vehicle, I really wasn't dead set on a single color. So I want to set it up to be able to do quick color changes, which is kind of a unique way to set up a car, and I'll show you how we're going to do that. And then in today's episode, we're also going to start wrapping it, so we will unveil the first color choice for this build. I think you're really going to like it. Stay tuned. Before we get down to work, I want to take a second out to thank our sponsor. Today's episode is sponsored by Simplisafe. If you don't already know, Simplisafe is serious home security made simpler. It's all of the protection without any of the hassle and headaches from the old school brands. Simplysafe's comprehensive lineup includes sensors to cover every window, room, door, HD security cameras for the inside and out, plus great extras like smart locks, video doorbells, water sensors, and a bunch more. I got interested in home security about 4 years ago when a couple of my cars got broken into and I came home with my cars up on blocks. I wished I would have had a security system to record what happened. And then I got Simplisafe and I have been using it ever since, and I am super happy with how well it works. In my house here, we have redecorated, the Christmas stuff is down, and we've got our base station kind of camouflaged behind this plant here. But when I turn on the system, by walking over to my keypad right here, you can see I got a door sensor right here, and this is gonna light up and make a sound when I open and close the door to let me know everything's working. And let's just say, okay, I'm gonna set up a system that I'm home, and now I've got that beautiful blue glow on my base station letting me know that the system's activated. Simplisafe also has a new wireless outdoor security camera, which is huge for us car guys. Outdoors, the number one thing I wanna be watching is monitoring my cars and make sure that they're okay. This camera is top notch. It's got 1080p resolution, it's got color night vision, it's got a built-in spotlight, and it has a 140-degree field of view. So this is a really good camera to be able to monitor the outside of your property. The Simplisafe app is awesome. I can monitor my different cameras, my indoor, my outdoor. I can turn on and off my security system. I can remote let in somebody into my house. All sorts of fantastic features from a really solid app. And Simplisafe is a really trusted home security brand. They've been recommended by experts like the guys at PC Mag and Popular Science and a lot more. And they're trusted by more than 3 million Americans to keep their home safe. So guys, if you're interested in home security, go check it out. Now is the time. Check the link at the top of the description, or the link will be displayed on the screen right here. Use those links and you'll get 20% off your Simplisafe home security system when you sign up for an interactive monitoring plan, and you'll get your first month's free. Just like it says on the screen here, visit simplisafe.com/B is for Build. Huge thanks to Simplisafe for sponsoring this episode and all the years of support. Let's get down to work. So guys, it's been a while since we've been working on this car. It's been a while since we've all been in the shop together. Oscar got Omicron. Kyle almost got Omicron. I'm not 100% sure if I did or not. I was just sick for a day, but it went away in a day, so who knows. But Oscar confirmed it, so we weren't really allowed to be together for a week, but we went through the allotted time. But before people got sick, Oscar got a lot of good work done on the front end, so let me update you on that. So the front end is looking good, and we've got some additions here to show you. So this is our reservoir. It's located in a little bit different spot than usual. Normally it's going to be back here. We had to move it here for spacing requirements. The intercooler's all welded up. Cobb sent us these awesome intakes. Now, Cobb sent us some intakes that go kind of straight, and well, that doesn't work with our crazy custom setup. So we threw some bends in there. Sorry, Cobb, that we cut up your pipe, but we are using their awesome air filters, which are really cool. So shout out to Cobb. I'll put a link in the description. Thank you so much for sending those out for us. We got our power steering reservoir mounted. We have one power steering line left to go on here, and then everything is just going to get buttoned up with a little bit of hosing. So the front end and the engine bay is all good. Bodywork is the name of the game for this episode. Kyle has been working on doing the door jamb, The flush mounting, kind of just following what I did in the last videos before, showing you guys how to flush mount this. And we are about one more application of body filler and one round of sanding away from having that be good. So what I'm gonna move on to is getting the rest of the car in a good enough shape that we can wrap over it. I'm gonna start in this section right here just because that's where nobody else is working. You can see when we look really closely, give me a second to focus in on this. As I bounce the light off of this fiberglass fender, there are a good amount of little pits and impurities in the gel coat of the fiberglass. Now the gel coat is the uppermost layer. It's normally relatively thick before you get into the actual fibers of the fiberglass. It can be sanded into pretty well, so that's what I'm gonna start with, is using a sanding block and sanding and trying to see if I can get through these impurities so I have a nice smooth surface to work with.
Turn into a stubborn one.
Is the car on fire?
I don't think so. No, we're good.
So now is as good a time as any to update you on what Oscar's been doing on both of these rear quarter panels. He's been finishing off the weatherproofing. So he's putting some metal on the inside here, kind of running from the inside here up and creating a higher arch so the wheel can tuck a little bit, but a higher arch running back into the stock frame of the car. So that gets welded in on one side and then seam sealed on both sides, and that'll seal that all up really nicely. While that was going on, Kyle and I have sanded both of the front fenders up. So any low spots that were left after sanding, they did sand up very, very nicely. So these are extremely smooth now. Any low spots that are left, what I did was I marked them with a little bit of a white paint pen here, and that is where I'm going to be coming back and doing a little bit of, I'll use some glazing putty and a razor blade and just fill those low spots, sand it up, and then we'll hit these with high fill primer. I'm going to move on to the, since Oscar's working right here, I'm going to move on to the other quarter panel and sand that thing up. We finished up all our little glazing putty work, so you can see at the end it really, there's not a lot that you really see after you sand it all down. We also went to the rear quarter panels, did that as well. The other side had a little bit more of like a fill that needed to be done. Cleaned up some stuff in the door jambs and got everything in a really good smooth spot. Also, the other thing too is, if you guys remember, there's some pretty thick step up of paint going from the stock silver to this red, so we kind of leveled out this edge here. Got a little bit more to do right here, but we're fanning that out so you won't be able to see it, and then we're going to be painting over that later today. But so on this fender right here, everything is fiberglass. This, that, we're going to go ahead and hit it with some high fill primer. We can see if we left any scratch marks from the sandpaper, and also, you know, it'll give us another opportunity to sand it down. So we're just going to mask it off real quick with some cardboard Oscar's got prepped up here, spray it with some high fill primer, and then see how we're looking. First, you want to clean it up with wax and grease remover, alcohol. And also, if you're at home DIYing like us and you're not going to use a full spray system, I really like SEM's high fill primer that they have out of the can. It's the best one that I've found, and it's what I recommend 100%. So we're going to go ahead and hit all 4 quarter panels and see how we're looking. we're primered up. It's looking like a project car now. This actually helps show us where some small imperfections were, say some really small pinholes. I'll see if I can focus in on a few right there. Whoa, that's an unhappy camera. Yeah, anyways, they're very, very, very small, but we will be fixing those up, and we found a few other things. One thing that I really, really like the look of, and I'm super happy with, is our transition line here. Now, where the paint comes in here, we got to do a little bit more work there, but our transition, making this thing look like it was flush mounted into the body, looks very, very good. So I'm very happy about that. Overall, these panels are great. So good quality panels that we found on eBay. That's a score. And so these just need to be lightly sanded up and prepped. Now, the other thing we want to do is paint the inside bits that we don't plan on wrapping, like the door jamb and let's say like the trunk area and under the hood, black. Luckily, under the hood over here is black already, but that means we got to spray this stuff. So the guys are going to work on getting this stuff masked off so we can spray, like say the door jamb, the inside of the doors. We're going to work on masking all this stuff up so we can spray it. And I'm going to go to the doctor because I have to do that all the time now. So I'm going to go do that. All right, guys, we're back in the shop. The guys obviously did a great job of starting to mask up the car. I'm back from my doctor's appointment. Everything is the same as it was before. So nothing got worse, and that's a positive thing. So that's the health update. We got a few more things to mask off before we're ready to spray. We're gonna do that right now. All right, guys, we've got the car all masked up. Now, to reiterate, what we're doing is we're painting gloss black inside all of the jams and the areas that we're not going to be vinyl wrapping. So say the back side of this door, inside there, all these edges here, and all of this. So we could vinyl wrap this car any color, and then like kind of the recessed areas will be black and it'll look nice. What we're about to do here is it's one of those do as I say and not as I do moments. It's not safe to paint in a shop like this. I don't know all the safety rules around all this stuff, but I do know that when you're painting with automotive paint, if you have things like light bulbs that could explode and cause a spark, or anything around you that could cause a spark, if you got the paint thick enough in the air to where you could put a lighter to it and it would explode, anything inside your shop that makes a spark could blow you up. It does happen. Paint booths do explode. So this is a don't do this at home type of thing. We do have a paint booth that we built specifically for doing things like this in, but it's a little bit narrow, so you can't really very easily open the doors, spray the inside of the doors and the door jambs and all that stuff, so I'd rather do it in here. I've painted in here quite a few times. I know that I'll be fine. But yeah, don't do this at home. But if you are trying to do some painting at home, here's how we figured out how to get really, really good results with very, very inexpensive stuff. So since we're doing a really, really small area, we like to use the Harbor Freight detail gun. This is only 15 bucks. Where the money goes is in your air cleaners. So these are heavy duty air cleaners. They are about 80, 90 bucks a piece. I like to run 2 of them. It's a little bit overkill. This is a $400 air compressor as well. You need a lot of air, but you need less air when you use a detail gun because it has such a fine tip. So can't use that to paint a whole car, but you can use it to paint small stuff like what we're doing here. And then Harbor Freight has these good respirators that we like to use too. Then we just run down to the local automotive paint store to buy some paint. We're just doing a very generic jet black, a little paint, a little reducer, mix it up, throw it in the gun, spray away. Make sure to hit the surfaces with wax and grease remover first, then a tack cloth, and you should get good results. Oh, temperature is important. It's 40 degrees outside, so we've heated up this place, but then you turn off the heater so you don't explode. All right, I'm gonna get to painting. Painted. Let's talk about what went well and what did not go well. And if you've watched the show for long enough, I think you know where this is going already. Our air went very well. We got really, really good clean air with plenty of air pressure, so that's solid. Our first gun did not work. It had a flaw to it where it would just leak right out of the front, so we had to run down to Harbor Freight and get another gun. My really, really expensive gun also didn't work. I tried that as the first backup, the Vilbus GTI Pro. Probably didn't get clean well enough last time we used it, so that didn't work. But anyways, once I got a detail gun that worked, I was getting great spraying. We had a couple preparation problems, and then we had what I would call a lack of vision problem, and also a lack of paint problem. So when we were sanding this, we used a really high grit sandpaper that we don't normally use, and we left, you can see some sanding marks left over in the paint here. These spots are going to be visible on the car when you open the trunk, and that's not good with me. So that has to be sanded out and repainted. The inside of the door and the door jambs was all really great, but I was only able to do 2 coats, not 3, because we actually did not buy enough paint, and switching all the paint guns constantly, pouring paint into different paint guns does not help. But yeah, we ran out of paint, and I wasn't able to do my 3rd coat, and when you hit this with the light here, you can see some red through it. That probably would have gone away on a 3rd coat, who knows. It's also not glossy either, so that ain't good enough, and I had a missed spot on the other side as well. So yeah, we ran out of paint, didn't get good enough coverage, and you can see the old paint through it. That's not good enough either. Also, it's really hard to see, but inside this crack right here, we had a paint reaction where the paint is kind of cracking and creasing up. That's caused by a reaction between the new layer of paint and the old layer of paint, so that has to be sanded all the way down bare, and you got to get a good enough primer or something on there that'll make that happy. So that has to be redone as well. When you're doing DIY paint jobs and painting cars, to be honest with you, none of these things are that crazy rare. None of these are catastrophic either. Just sand out and respray, not really a big deal. So that'll be the first thing that we redo tomorrow. Nothing too crazy. But the paint store is closed right now, and I did tell you guys I would show you the wrap and unveil the color that we have chosen for this. I already took a peek at the wrap, but I'm so happy about it. Let me get it out of the box and show you guys what we're going with. So the wrap color for the GTR is Midnight Purple. So, Midnight Purple is an extremely hard color to spray, and there's a wrap that is like a dead-on clone of it. We've looked at a lot of Midnight Purple vehicles, and I'm going to go up and down. You can see as we change on our angle on this roll, you see oranges in the far back there over by the end of the roll. Well, at least I do. I don't know how much is going to show up on camera, but you see oranges, purples, and then you come over here, aquas and blues and light blues and teals. It's got the whole color spectrum that I've seen on every real Midnight Purple GTR, and I was in between Midnight Purple and the same red color that's on here, and I didn't know which one to go with. I let a lot of you guys vote, and the overwhelming majority of you guys voted for Midnight Purple. So we're gonna go with Midnight Purple on all of the body panels that are not carbon fiber. So the hood is gonna stay carbon fiber, the trunk lid is carbon fiber, but everything else will be Midnight Purple except for like the side skirts and the front lip and things like that, rear diffuser. And I'm really excited because this wrap is absolutely beautiful, and the amount of color change that has in it is amazing. We do know how to paint, and this car is very paint prepped. We could try and spray Midnight Purple, but if I made a mistake, each mistake would cost me a lot of money. And the other thing is, the cool thing about wrap is if you ever have to fix a panel or come back or change anything, re-wrapping it, the color is always going to match 100%. With a color like Midnight Purple, it's a 3-stage paint. It's going to be nearly impossible to do a perfect color match if we ever have to come back. So I'm a big fan of wraps for that reason. And they look, I mean, when done right, they look really good. So I have faith that this car will still look awesome, and we're gonna have a perfect Midnight Purple paint job that will be wrapped, if that makes sense. All right guys, that's it for this episode. We gotta let this paint dry before we can fix it up tomorrow morning. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We're getting so close to the final assembly on this build. I hope you'll stick with us. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss anything. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace!